Hi friends, I am home from Breyerfest. I had a wonderful time seeing friends and meeting folks and shopping for models. If you attended Breyerfest this year, either online or in person, I hope you also had a wonderful time. I will be doing a haul video later, but first I wanted to do this instead. This is a general guide to my collection. This is what I enjoy collecting, what by and large I tend to focus on. These are my own personal rules for what gets added to my shelves and what doesn't. I wanted to do this because it will add some context to why my Breyerfest haul looks the way it does. Some of this will be a bit obvious given what I've shown in my previous videos, but some of it might surprise you. And I will say, this is 100% personal to me. It came about as my collection evolved and as I figured out what I liked and what I didn't. I firmly believe that anyone can define their own collection however they wish. There is no right or wrong way to collect. To start off, I am primarily an OF collector. I had a small collection of Breyers as a kid, and to this day, there's just something about the look of an original finish model that I prefer. Just the look of it, the aesthetic. So the bulk of my collection is Breyer models, like this Dundee pictured here. And recently, I have begun collecting stone horses models as well. For the most part, my collection can be sorted into these four categories. Decorators, those are the unrealistic colors and patterns, like this lovely model Kahinde, painted to look like an okapi. My Congas, ancillary items like pins, souvenirs, and ephemera, and of course, exceptions to all of the above. Because while I have these general rules, general boundaries around my collection, I also just collect what I like. So there are pieces in my collection that are outside these categories, and that's okay. So let's dive a little deeper. If you've seen a few of my collection tours, then you know I love my decorators. I very much enjoy the juxtaposition of a lovely horse shape with lovely non-horse colors and designs. However, I don't collect all decorators. There are plenty of decorator models out there that don't tickle my fancy. I tend to focus on specific themes and colors. These include Halloween models, Christmas, holiday, and winter colors and designs, rainbow models like Prism, pictured here, wild animals, which are models painted to look like other animals, like Kahinde, the okapi shown previously, the silver filigree color, various shades of blue, spring or autumn related designs, desserts or hearts related, and patriotic. Any decorator model in one of these themes or colors is going to catch my eye. But even within these themes and colors, a model may not be an automatic purchase for me. For example, there are Halloween models that don't appeal to me at all, as I mentioned in my Halloween collection tour last year. And just because a model is blue, or just because it has autumn leaves on it, doesn't mean it's something I need for my collection. As I said earlier, I am a firm believer that a collector can define their collection however they want. Over the years, I have gravitated towards these themes and colors, but even within these bounds, I still only buy what I like. So next, we move on to my Congas. I have 5 traditional scale Congas. There's Big Ben, of course, which you see pictured here. I did a tour of my Big Ben Conga last year. There's also Duende, Dundee, Rugged Lark, and the Zebra. And side note, at some point I will do a Conga tour of all of these. I also have 3 stablemates scale Congas: Darwin Lipizan, the G2 Warmblood, and Horatio, the mini Othello. Any model on these 8 molds is a must purchase for me. though that doesn't include one-of-a-kinds, and any super rare models fall under the category of maybe someday if I'm really lucky. But any regular runs, or Collector Club models, or Breyerfest models, or anything of that sort, those are must-haves. Unsurprisingly, most of the realistic models in my collection are due to my Congas. Will these always be my only Congas, these 8? Maybe. Maybe someday I'll add additional molds to this list, or maybe I'll change my mind and no longer collect them. For now, these are the molds I actively Conga, so they inform my collection. Decorators and Congas are really the two tent poles of my collection, the two main guiding principles, the North Stars of my collection, if you will. Almost all my model purchases fall into one of these two categories, which means that most of the models that Breyer and Stone produce don't appeal to me. I shouldn't say appeal. That's not quite the right word, although it is one that I use a lot. A lot of models appeal to me in that they are fun and pretty and look stunning on a shelf. I love seeing new model reveals. I love seeing what the new special runs are for Breyerfest, the new series that Stone Horses is making, the new mid-year releases, all of that. But for me personally, the only models I add to my collection, by and large, are my decorators and my Congas. This is what I prefer to have, what I prefer to own. It has evolved over time for me, and perhaps it will evolve further in the future. But for right now, this is what my collection is. I will also say, I often find myself appreciating a new mold and getting excited about it. And the first thing I think is, I can't wait for that to be released in a decorator I need. Some recent examples for me are the new Winifred Mule and also Cosimo. I enjoy those molds a lot, but I don't need to start new Congas. I'll be happy to add them to my collection eventually as decorators. So moving on. Next is some smaller ancillary stuff, pins, souvenirs, and the like. Some of what I collect is Breyerfest swag. I enjoy collecting the program, the pin, and the magnet from each Breyerfest I've attended, provided they were available. Some of my earliest Breyerfests didn't have pins or magnets, so far as I can tell. Pictured here are items from the 2024 Breyerfest, including the 35th anniversary commemorative program. That was fun. I also enjoy collecting items specific to my Congas. I have a whole Big Ben pin and button collection since I love Big Ben so much. And it helps that Breyer likes to put Big Ben's silhouette on their promotional materials, such as this 70th anniversary pin. As a small aside, I'm still the tiniest bit disappointed that there wasn't a Big Ben release as part of the 70th anniversary. He was in the logo, so I thought for sure there would be a model to go with it, but there wasn't, alas. So overall, the pins and things aren't a large part of my collection, but in certain cases they are items I focus on. And lastly, there are exceptions to my self-imposed rules. Of course there are exceptions. I have these rules, guidelines, boundaries on my collection, but that doesn't preclude me from adding things to my collection for whatever reason I choose. I do occasionally purchase realistic models, non-decorator models. Some examples are the Birds of a Feather series, which featured realistic horses inspired by various birds. I love that series. I also have a small collection of non-original finish models, including customs, artist resins, medallions, and china. I have a great respect and admiration for the artists and sculptors in our hobby who produce these models. The artistry and skill on display across disciplines is amazing. But for me personally, they simply don't call to me as much, so they aren't something I focus on. But when I see a piece I really enjoy, I absolutely add it to my collection. I have roughly a dozen customs, I believe. My total collection of artist resins, medallions, and china pieces is fewer than 10 combined, but I enjoy each one for what it means to me. And of course, I still have a small carpet herd. This is the term the hobby uses for models one had as a child that got played with across the carpet, as indeed mine were quite often. I do not aim to add to my carpet herd. I'm not trying to reacquire models that I had way back when and have since sold. So this isn't an active part of my collection. But my carpet herd is still very much part of my collection, like this Palomino family Arabian mare that my grandmother gave me. My remaining carpet herd models are important to me, and they aren't going anywhere. Which leads me into what I've said a few times now, that I collect what I like. Whether that's a mold I like, or a color I like, or because I like jack-o'-lanterns for spooky season, or because it reminds me of a friend, or of a place I visited, or an event I did. All of these things inform my collection, and I'm always excited to see what gets released next. Thanks, friends!